Good evening, my crime family. How y'all doing out there? Oh, we got lots of chatters out there already too. Oh, yeah, I better go say my highs now. Hello, Debbie Gazzardo. Good to see you. Doc Terry, good to see you. Angela, good to see you. Latina, good to see you. Nacho, my girl, good to see you. Robert, good to see you. Rach, good to see you, my girl. Bonnie M, good to see you. Kathleen, good to see you, my girl. Deborah, you're always my girl. Good to see you. Randy, my brother, good to see you. Nikki, good to see you. And Wayne B, good to see you. I'm scrolling up. AR, good to see you. Eve, good to see you. And to everybody out there, I keep scrolling up. It isn't going to end. Dakota, good to see you. Anyway, yeah, we're going to do some chatting tonight, and I'm going to show a couple things here. I don't know if you've seen the bubbly video or not, but I don't know how I missed that the other day. But while I was letting that play, I was like, I don't know, I was resting for a little while, and then I didn't want to talk over like I did last time, so I just let it play through. But we're going to take a look at this real quick, because that's something that I need to talk about. I need to talk about this thing. This one.
When I asked them in the hearing that did you use the IDG, any of the information of the IDG to get the warrant, to get Mr. Koberger's DNA, that was not part of it. So in terms of Mr. Koberger's that don't know that it's that complicated to get a warrant, to get Mr. Koberger to get a warrant, to get Mr. Koberger, any of the information of the IDG to get the warrant, to get Mr. Koberger's, to get Mr. Koberger's IDG to get the warrant, to get Mr. Koberger used the IDG, any of the information of the IDG to get the warrant, to get Mr. Koberger's DNA, that was not warrant, to get Mr. Koberger's DNA, that to get the warrant, to get Mr. Koberger's DNA, that was not part of it. So in terms of the time frame,
same idea.
And what'd you think of that, huh? Now, that kind of tells me one fucking thing. Somewhere on them court records that judge has read, there's the name Kopaka. That's what it tells me. Because how would it even be in his mind? How would he even get that messed up? Unless he had read that somewhere. So, that gets you wondering, is he the so-called informant that won't be testifying? Is it because he won't be testifying because he's dead? And this started getting me thinking of all kinds of shit. How did this all go down? Think about this, folks. We hardly know anything about this 911 call to Kopackas. They're called over there because he's threatening or something his roommates. Supposedly, allegedly. So, before they get Brian, who's the first place they show up at? Kopackas. They don't arrest Brian until a couple of weeks later. Did Kopacka say something? Did Kopacka maybe he is the, because between Kopacka and Koberger, who would you choose to have done something like this? To me, it would be definitely Kopacka. All right, he's trained to do that kind of thing. So makes me wonder, makes me question: did they go over to Kopackas because they had a like a tip on him? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out. I'm spitballing. Whatever. But it makes me wonder because they go to his place first, and then 2 weeks later, and they were on to Brian Koberger because they followed him right around that same time that they went over to Kopackas. So I don't know. Is his name getting thrown in this again? But it isn't us that's throwing it in there. It isn't any of the creators. It's the judge. What the hell? Yeah, Bubbly did a great job of getting that, catching that. I can't believe I didn't catch that. Hey, Bubbly, good job on that, girl. That just blows me away. Let's listen to it one more time, shall we? I want to listen to this one more time because this actually tells me a lot.
When I asked them in the hearing that did you use the IDG, any of the information of the IDG to get the warrant, to get Mr. Koberger's DNA, that was not part of it. So in terms of Mr. Koberger's, that don't know that it's that complicated to get a warrant, to get Mr. Koberger to get a warrant, to get Mr. Koberger, any of the information of the IDG to get
Mr. Kopacker. That's unbelievable. That's unfucking believable. To me, that's a big fuck up by the judge there, because that pretty much tells us that somewhere in those court filings, he's read that name. He's read that name, Kopacka, and definitely has done that. Yeah, it's been actually you're right, Open Mind. It's been muffled. They tried to edit it as fast as they could because it was live. I don't know if they're like on a 5 second, 7 second delay or what, but they might have been, and they tried to do it real quick. But yeah, they did try to muffle it, and they didn't do a very good job. But that just blows me away because that's yeah, so. How does Kopaka? Okay, how does Kopaka fit in this? Then the judge apparently has read that somewhere in those court documents. Otherwise, he would not have. I mean, that would not have been on his tongue whatsoever. Apparently, that name is in those court documents. Now, we're led to believe that Kopaka's name's not anywhere, have nothing to do with this. And here the judge says his name. Well, he says Kopaker or Kopaker or whatever. Yeah. All right, cryptic. Yeah, Julianne, and that could be, but then I think what gets me there is
to get Mr.
Exactly.
Koberger's to get Mr.
All right. Yeah. What gets me is that they'll say that Kohlberger is the number one and Kopaka is the number two now. Because Kopaka's dead. You know what I'm saying? If that's the way it was, but I still have a hard time with I don't know, with Brian being involved there. But anyway, I thought that would be a good way to start this night off. Let me get rid of this. That was a good job, Bubbly. Really a good job. Okay. Now, this next one I'm going to throw up there. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what you guys think of that, but yeah, I'd definitely be talking about that because that to me is really crazy. Yeah, you're right, Megan. Yep, it was Rory. On the way there, a block away from the house, and on the way back, a block away from the house. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna run one and make sure you post Bubbly's link there, please, mods. And the next one we're gonna share is from 1111 True Crime. And I think I've only shared like hers once before, and she came in and I watched one of mine and commented, and it brought me to her page, so I went and checked her out again, and I really like her style. I don't know, and I like her voice, and I like her style. So anyway, on to 1111 True Crime. If you guys don't know it, make sure you sub up because it is a good one. All right, and this one is called Proof of Life or Hoax to Obscure the Timeline.
The longest proceedings. I slept through it. I literally fell asleep because I realized about 10 minutes into it that the judge does not like Kohlberger, in my opinion. And the judge seemed to be almost like an inept Gilligan up there for me. I was like, I can't believe that he's just so, and I don't know, for lack of better words, kosher with the prosecution blatantly.
Oh my God, that's too funny. An inept Gilligan. I love that.
Blatantly, like obviously. And poor her, Ann Taylor. And I have to tell you, if she is working both sides, okay, she's doing a hell of a good actress job. Because I felt bad for her. Did you guys feel bad for her? Sweet and salty. What did the judge forget? AT asked for a cast last hearing. I know, right? That's why I'm saying this inept Gilligan type judge. Like, does he have Alzheimer's? I was like, okay, today I'm going to get on the channel. I'm going to get with my beautiful love family. I'm going to stay calm so that those that are just settling in and want to relax can tune in. So let me just watch this court hearing and then I'll get on there and I'll just keep my voice nice and chill, just easy peasy, relaxing, and let everybody chill. I get done, 10 minutes of it, I snooze, I wake up, and apparently I heard it all while I was sleeping or something because I was wound up like a Tasmanian devil. I was like, are you kidding me? And then I'm listening to Jay Buno and I'm like, hey, JB, right? When do we get this trial? When did it get set? I slept for an hour and a half. Y'all been talking about change of venue and all this stuff while I'm dozing. So at this point, I know you've locked into a trial date because I've listened to nonsense forever. And Jay Buno is like, so let's look at the poll. Will it be? And I'm like, wait a minute, deja vu. Isn't this how this whole process started? So what was accomplished today, you guys? Anything? Anything. Doc Terry says she was working hard, AT. Same old story. There is a wrongful conviction blueprint. And I know people do not want to hear it. But I know that blueprint. And if I have to design it on paper, I mean, maybe I need to write a book about wrongful conviction because I do know about it. And I hate to tell you guys, but Brian Kohlberger is headed down that road. And most wrongful convictions don't get exonerated down the road. That happens once in a blue moon. And when it happens, they've usually served half their life away innocently behind bars, sounding just like the guilty folks out there that are all locked behind bars. I never did it. I never did it. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. But I will tell you, it's getting to the point that the biased tunnel vision of those that do these investigations, I would guess, would be a combination, a mixture, a blend of lack of proper training and nepotism and laziness. In other words, the investigations aren't getting done right. It's almost as if it's a free card. Like, okay, we just had a quadruple homicide. What are the goals here, boys? Make sure it doesn't fall on our own property. Right. Keep it off our turf. All right. So we're looking for someone outside, right? What's next? Somebody that doesn't have anybody back them up. Okay. All right. So lack of family support in the area. So they really got to be from nowhere land. So they could be, I don't know. Maybe they're an immigrant, right? That's illegal. We just heard about that. It's just getting bizarre to me. Tina McMichael says, not really anything new. Ann Taylor took them on. Hi, Jeannie BC New. You say it was a joke. Ann Taylor needs this and that and doesn't have it, but you were ready to go to trial against a man's life. Well, good point. Sweet and Sally says no one wants to talk to Ann Taylor. Why not? Right? So in this DoorDash, you guys, I wanted to talk a little bit also about this timeline that we're led to believe. Nani McPoppins, wonderful to see you again. You say, I know some don't understand it, but Brian Case stands silent is the best thing he has done. Sadly, it looks like he's got a long, silent road ahead. I actually agree with that. I truly do. Sassy says they are allowed to be corrupt, so they will continue to do so until they receive proper punishment for those actions. Let's talk about this so we know. I mean, I don't want to go through the timeline, break it down every detail. At this point, I am hoping that you're to the point that when I say that we have DoorDash at around 4-ish, because nobody really knows. My question is, we never hear about her ordering the DoorDash. They never bring it up. Did anybody else catch that? Like it never says that her phone was active at this time ordering DoorDash? No, it actually says that she received DoorDash, right? And it really refers to TikTok being active on her phone just after 4 a.m. So that's something I find very bizarre. Like, why avoid the whole thing? And they tracked down, allegedly, this DoorDash driver and cleared them, right away before there was any DNA back from anything. So it makes you wonder. Now, there's all kinds of rumors. We do have that it was a female driver. I've heard people say that they believe it was Emma Bailey. We've all kind of had that moment of pausing and being like, was Brian Kohlberger the DoorDash driver? Because they left from Pullman at exactly the same time, almost exactly, and drove 9 miles on the very time that there's a quadruple murder, and they delivered DoorDash, and then these 4 are killed. That's literally the story. Like, you're not bullshitting me kind of thing. Hi, Summer Snow. Greetings to you. So she says, in her opinions, DoorDash was a ruse. So let's talk about it. Allegedly, it was actually Taco Bell. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Just because someone's phone is active, is it proof of life? She was on TikTok. She ordered DoorDash. Does that mean that she is alive? Give me a 1 if you're like, well, yeah, that's proof she's alive. And then give me why. Why is that proof she's alive? We need to really dig into this. Hey, Tracy Gear, it's been a hot minute. Good to see you. You say, it's good he stayed silent. Anything you say will and can be held against you. I said that wrong, but yeah. Here's the thing, you guys. Do you see the app on the screen? So what ways unlock your phone? Let's talk about it. Let me get my little paper. I opened my drawer. We'll get a pencil. The first way that you can open your phone is a fingerprint. Okay? Well, if you just killed someone and their bodies are laying there, trigger warning, but you can use their hand to unlock their phone. All right, so we have says a face print. So yes, face recognition. Guess what you have if you just murdered someone and they're laying on the floor? You have their face. Right? So thumb and face. Now, also there is, as Nomi McPoppins is saying, thumbprint, face, and a number code. All right, so number code. Now, I'm not saying that anybody had the number code. However, there's also the digital design where you have to connect the dots that go around a certain way. Okay. So we're going to call it connect dots. Connect dots. I'm making notes for us so we can come back to it. Okay. So on the whiteboard over here, on the connect dots. So, it's a whole bunch of dots on the screen and you use your finger and you connect the dots into a pattern. And then you have to be able to repeat that pattern to open up the phone again. What, right? So the connecting dots thing, I know I've literally watched my friends do theirs so much, I can open it. I can open their phones. Or also, if you know somebody and you trust them, a lot of the times, even if it is the code, they'll be like, your phone is ringing. And then the person's like, well, I've got soap on my hands. Can you answer it? And they're like, I don't know how. And they're like, 000102 or whatever. And the person types it in. So I'm just saying, is it possible for someone to get onto those phones? Hi, Fallon Lovely. You say also, Ellie took a photo of Kay's ID, maybe to use the face recognition. Boom. I'm just going to give you soft booms because I got hit for it because I was being too loud. So I won't get hit no more. So yeah, boom. That's a big one. Now somebody will be like, I can't hear you. So Lex Mass says, nah, it can't be from an ID photo. And maybe that doesn't work. I wouldn't know. I've never tried it. All says 100% this is where I hoped you were going. I hope so. What now? Also says, sorry, I'm late because I was stuck finding the exact time. Judge just almost said Kopaka. Ooh. Before correcting himself by a truth and transparent happened at 1:13:12. Make a note, you guys. 1:13:12. You guys, I'm so backed up on videos. I've got 4 videos scheduled after this. Now, one of the videos, let's take a minute back off the Idaho 4 caves. I want you to jump over here to Elijah View. And we are going to do just a very short, you're going to see it probably tomorrow morning, where I just get his information out there. It's not about the crime itself. It is just getting his face out there. It is something that you can share. I'm going to try to keep the whole thing down to I would say maybe 10 minutes and just show his face, show what's going on in the case, that they, and the parents are being arrested, all that. So pay attention to that. And the one request I had for you is because his face is on the screen the entire time, I want it shared. This is a baby boy, 3 years old, from Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin. I've been following it. I've just been watching it from the side view. Oh, Lord. I did not mean to say that pun. I've been watching it from the side. But I feel like we know that the chances of survival are slim. But let's try to get on this. So, Blue Pocahontas says, we appreciate the time and effort you put into the case. This case, it keeps us all informed. Well, you guys put same amount of effort, really, honestly. And you guys are just as much a part of this channel as I am. It takes both of us. And I'm thankful for you every day. Oceans 1111 says it's not unusual for Ellie to take a photo of an ID rather than writing down info. That's usually is what's unusual is a big deal Ellie was making about a noise complaint. Interesting. Well, and it wasn't the noise complaint. That's what's concerning to us. Nobody had complained on that home that day when he took the photo of the ID. So they had responded to a noise complaint of the frat boys just up the road. And in walking distance, the law enforcement chose LE to walk over to 1122 and inform them of a false claim. which cops can lie to you. They have every right under the law to lie flat out to your face, and they can have you in an interrogation room and tell you that they have your DNA on the body, and it be a complete lie. And that's why always get your lawyer immediately, regardless of what is going on. Just say, I will not answer anything. I request my lawyer now. I demand my lawyer now. Jamie says, I heard Xana and Ethan ate pizza way before the DoorDash. Not sure if anyone else heard this, which reminds me of why would she order DoorDash if they ate pizza? So,
What's going on out there, guys? You got her under control? Is it all under control, Hope? Just checking here. I wasn't watching what was going on at all. Oh, you can put the ban on there, right, Rach? I don't want them in chat. Ban them. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thanks, Nat. Okay. I'm glad. There we go.
you guys,
Finish this up.
I listened to the recording of the father, and I did not hear him say anything about pizza. So I'm wondering if there are two recordings out there, two interviews, because I never heard the pizza thing. So it made me wonder. Good point, though. Ocean's 1111, excellent point. You said even worse. Ellie was all over that house. Whew, deep breath, right? I agree, Lex Mass says tonight's hearing was a shit show. Upside down shit show. Because that's a whole nother shit show. When you take an hour and a half to absolutely come to no decision and waste time like that, it blows my mind. Aw, thank you, Liz Tulip. Tupling. There it is. Liz Tupling. I have dyslexia and I kept wanting to say tulip, like the flower, because of the yellow too. I want to say thank you so much, Liz. That is so beautiful. Can I heart that? Because it's got no. Okay. I thought I maybe could heart it. Aw, thank you, lovely. That is a beautiful super chat. You guys are so kind and so, so incredibly generous. Christy Martinez says, Xana's mom said Dad told her they were eating pizza and she doesn't believe the DoorDash time. Oh, thank you for clearing that up. All right. So that would be Kara or Kara. And her name is not Kernoodle. It's like Northington, I believe. Don't quote me. I believe that's her name. Jamie, thank you for sharing that. Jamie says, thinking of Elijah View, prayers for him, and with the blue heart and blue dinosaur, you guys. Blue hearts, blue dinosaurs. Fallon says, I heard Xana's autopsy showed stomach was empty. Where did you hear it from, though? Like, who came up with it? Where'd they get it from? Because I've never heard anything from the families at all. And I know law enforcement isn't going to put that out. So it makes me wonder, where did we get that from? Just curious, you know? Doc Theory, Judge was acting like it was a copy clutch. Oh my God, that kills me. I'm dead. The judge is corrupt AF, stalling like crazy, says Lex Mess. I agree with all of you guys. I have the most intelligent, brilliant, amazing 1111 family. Robin Davis Ducksworth says, I just can't believe that any court would act like this and do it publicly now as well. I'm going to go rewatch it again. And I'm wondering if I should just record my reaction. Because I only saw the first maybe 10 minutes, if that, and I fell completely asleep. And then I woke up and I'm like, we still don't have a date? Are you kidding me? Am I losing my mind? It's shameful. It's shameful. Nani McPoppins says, Northington is right. Karen Northington, thank you, lovely. Ooh, Sweet and Salty says, killers waited on DDE to bring it in my opinion. You guys, I'm going to throw this out there. This is going to creep me out telling you this, but I'm still going to share it. And then I'm just going to leave my nightlight on tonight when I sleep. All right. So, did the killers know that when DoorDash is ordered late at night, that the roommates just would leave the door open on the bottom level? And that's how the killer planned to get in? I'm just asking. Because the door was open in the morning by 8:30. Wide open. Robin Davis Duckworth says, Judge is acting like Brian was having an affair with his wife. You felt that entire thing was embarrassing and boring, Doc Terry? Good Lord. Is it literally not worth my time to watch it? Summer 2025 supposedly is a trial, but there's no date. Thank you, Lex. BJ Marshall, hello, hello. You say, I love the deeper thoughts from all here. Makes me feel sane. Thank you. Welcome to the sane side of true crime. That's going to be our new slogan. Thank you, BJ. And we're going to get down to the bare bones. That's our slogan. We're getting down to the bare bones, right? Robin Davis Ducksworth says, and finally got a bit perky with a little bit of sass back at the judge. Wish she would stop giving prosecution a pass and ask for contempt of court on them. Well, I'll have to watch it, you guys. Infertile with the Turtle says, Steve G said Kaylee was serious about locking the doors and Xana had just gotten the locks changed, correct? Exactly. All right. Boom. You get a gold star because that is absolutely beautiful. That is beautiful. That is exactly true. 2 incidences where we know that 2 of the victims were thinking about door locks, right? And Steve G also said they locked their door. So for some reason, they know the doors were locked. Because he's like, they did everything right. They locked their door or doors. So makes you wonder if that bar stool that was blocking the slider actually was there before the crime. That lock on that, because I'm going to tell you now, if you lock yourself out and you can't get the key code to work because it's frozen, you might break in your own home, which we do see the screen up of the window on the back side of the house, and the screen is just laying there. Nobody seems to notice that. And I'm always like, the screen's out the window. How do we know that's not how they came in? But let's say you lock yourself out of the house. Would you break that little, I mean, it's so easy to do. And you can get in the slider. It's the easiest thing to have. And sliders actually can increase your insurance, because if you're trying to get homeowners insurance, they're worried you're going to get robbed, because sliders are so notorious and they just break. So that could have been broke before that, and they literally had that bar stool pinned in there. We don't know. But I also wanted to bring up something really bizarre with you guys. Really, really, really bizarre. So, Ian Harsh slipped the hell up. I was reviewing Ian Harsh's old footage for no apparent reason other than I was listening to it last night. And forgive me, I came upon where he was talking about when he learned of the crime. He stated the police were knocking on his door, questioning him, and they were questioning everybody in the building, going door to door. And then after they left, he turned around. So it sounded like at that moment, because he said he turned around and there on the TV, he heard about the 4 students that had been stabbed. And I'm like, oops, that wouldn't have been on the TV. That would not have been on the TV, because the first broadcast where they told us in the presser the truth and we learned what happened was on November 16th. Boom! I get a gold star. So, liar, liar, pants on fire. Sassy says Ian Harsh has always been sus, in my opinion. Right. Kathy Stacy says screen off and cider block under the window. Right? That way you can reach your other foot to the ground on the other side. You can straddle it without having to touch and balance yourself. Doc Terry says too soon. Exactly. Exactly. Too soon. You told on yourself. You told on yourself in the fact that you tell lies. Does that make him a killer? No. But it shows that he's full of shit. Everybody's like, good point. You get a gold star. Yes, you do. Thank you. I mean, y'all can get him. I can get him, right? Oceans 1111 says, oh, and they confirmed by body cam, I believe, that the screen had always been that way, I think. Sometimes I'm wrong, though. I don't know. You could be right. But if it's been off, then it's just easy access, even more so. Because then the killer doesn't even have to touch the screen. How bizarre. How bizarre. Ian knows more than he is saying, in my opinion, says Kathy Stacy. You very well could be right, my lovely. Sassy says, always put a wooden plank or a bar behind the slider door so it cannot be opened from the outside. Correct. Correct, exactly. Savvy BK says, sounds like he's been watching too many scary movies and taking notes. So let's assume that in this scenario, Xana, her phone has been used to place DoorDash. Okay? Then that throws a suspicion to me as to why would she be ordering DoorDash after allegedly eating pizza? You can tell she's not a heavy-set girl, right? And in doing that, I'm like, well, would it have been for, like, she didn't eat the pizza, but they had pizza? No, I feel like she'd eat the pizza. What do you guys feel? Ooh, and Bertle with a turtle says, I remember I remember hearing that somebody deciphered Ethan yelling, who sent you from that audio cam next door? And then there's a loud thud. Always made me think they didn't actually order it. Boom! Explosion. You get a gold star. That is creepy as hell. You guys. So that would make so much sense. Who sent you? So let's say you're familiar with the home and you know that every time the DoorDash is ordered at the home, they would open their front door. It would have to be somebody within the home ordering DoorDash to get that front door open because the killer ordering DoorDash, nobody in the house would know DoorDash is coming to open the front door. Are you feeling me? So somebody in the home would have had to open the front door. They would have to know about it. Somebody in the home would have to know to open the front door. But it would have to be, I'm so twisted here, and here's why. It's causing like a breakdown. If it isn't one of the victims, then why wouldn't someone that's in the house just go open the front door and be like, I ordered DoorDash, but not leave any digital trace? And if a killer ordered DoorDash on the outside of the home, that wouldn't affect the inside of the home. So it's almost as if DoorDash did get ordered from inside the home. BF. Ooh. If BF ordered DoorDash, she could have ordered for her and Xana, right? I mean, sometimes you order, but it's in your name, but it's for the other person too. Or maybe Xana said, order me some DoorDash. I don't know. But let's say BF did that and she opened the front door, and then that's the way the killer came in, allegedly, in this scenario, right? All right. Would BF have exculpatory evidence knowing this in some way? Could she have seen, because she would have been up at that point ordering the food, waiting on the food, could she have seen something from her bedroom window? And Fertile with a Turtle says, I don't believe anyone in the house ordered the DoorDash. DoorDash is pushing a timeline, Kathy Stacy. Doc Terry says a gag order is such a block of knowledge and causes so much for all of us to wonder. True crimers are going to solve this case, I believe. Tina Kazi says, I think it's D. Never trusted her at all. Okay, let's walk that. So did D order DoorDash and put it in Xana's name? Right? Because I can use my phone to order that DoorDash and send it to my son in the same house. Now the cops would know that because DoorDash would have a record of the phone number. Well, unless you gave the other number. Would DoorDash know at all? They're not tracking your number, and you always have to give them your number. They may not know at all. So a killer could technically be hiding in the attic of unsuspected homeowners and literally dial up, or not even dial up, but just go on the app and secretly order DoorDash, right? For somebody in the house and have DoorDash delivered to the house, and nobody would know that the killer was in the attic doing that. Okay, Dana Lynn, hello. You say, I do think someone else ordered the DoorDash. I think you guys are right. I'm seeing how it could work. Katz says, I think DD had to be paid with a debit or credit card. So whose was used? Yeah, who paid for it? Well, wait a minute, you guys. It doesn't. Nope, it does not. DoorDash is not debit and credit only. Because I was down south in Wisconsin in big cities and in smaller towns and on the road, even in Delphi, Indiana, and I said, even on the app, pay with cash on arrival. And then I gave them a big tip. Cash on arrival. Oh my God, could you imagine if they had withheld the information that oh my God, I'm here to help you, is because they were already murdered when the DoorDash driver got there? So the doors left open for the DDD, or the DDD, for the DoorDash driver. Yeah, DoorDash driver. Yeah, DDD. All right, so the doors left open for DDD. DDD arrives with said food, enters home. Hello. Now, keep in mind, at this moment, nobody's alive but the two roommates. They're in their room because we ain't going to talk about that right now. They just ignore him. And he goes in there and he's like, and maybe it was Bethany, said, someone's in here. All right. So then, what if the DD was like, oh my God, okay, I'm here to help you? Creepy. And then he laughed. He was like, ah. And then they interviewed him. It's like, yeah, I got there and everybody was dead. It was like a movie. I didn't think it was real. I've been traumatized. Who knows? What was worse says we can order DDD for MPD, show how much we love them. I ain't spending a dime in that direction. Jeanette, hello, lovely. You say, I heard Xana and Ethan got home and Xana called her dad and told him they were eating pizza and watching a movie. I thought that's what we've all heard through Kara Northington, the mother. Kara Northington, the mother. And through Kara Northington, the mother, is explaining to us that that's what she heard from Xana's dad. We've got that much figured out. Then the question is, who is the one ordering DoorDash? We've thought of many different ways that it could be ordered without it being the person, without it being Xana. Now the question I want you to think about is, was that Kaylee and Maddie actually phoning Jack? Because we have no voice, we have only a phone ringing, and then text messages. And don't forget, they were, if you don't pick up, I'll leave with the dog tonight. They were, for God's sakes, we share a dog together. And is the dog missing? Because we do hear somebody whistling and Murphy, right? The Archer in the Empress Tarot says, this is so scary. Why are the autopsy's results just coming back now? The x-ray of TH wounds are of the wounds are of contention. Different weapons? Yeah, I've got to listen to that court today after I do this. Infertile with the Turtle says, I feel the thud after he said, who sent you? Could have also been a response to a greeting police officer or I'm here to help you. That's kind of creepy. Savvy BK says, what if BK or someone in the house ordered the DD and the killer meets him at the door, takes the food, and walks right in? Oh, Lord. You know, if you're a DD driver, what if the killer is right there waiting for the food? Because nobody's going to come to the door. They've left the door open, right? Like she said, the DD hands the food off to the killer. The killer walks in, throws it on the counter, goes upstairs, comes downstairs, and out the door. Whew. Dana Lynn asks, does anyone remember what time the Corner Club closed that night? Infertile with a Turtle says, that's what I've been thinking. The DoorDash was the opening. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap this up here. We're nearing our hour mark. And with that, I'm going to change the whole view for a minute. Wipe the slate clean. I have a question for you. What if, just what if, they just simply use the DoorDash driver to make it so that someone discovered the bodies, right? Not wanting to be the ones. So what if the killer did it and left the door wide open just so that the DoorDash driver would be the one to find the dead people? I'm just asking. Because, I mean, there was a lot of stalling, as Unfiltered Lucky said. A lot of stalling, trying to get people to come over and find the bodies so that it wasn't the roommates. So, was DoorDash a failed attempt? And that's all I got. That's all I got for now. All right. I love you guys. I got a boom for that, says Doc Terry. I love you guys to the moon and back. I truly do. I thank you so much for tuning in, staying with me. I will edit this tonight and have it up for you in the morning. Also, please watch for the Elijah View video.
Oh yeah, I could listen to her voice all night. She's got an awesome voice. Yeah, and she puts out really good content. So make sure you like her, sub her up, and like her videos and all that good stuff. She always has something good to say, and so does Bubbly. I always like her and sub her up too. Yeah, hope you're posting her stuff in the chat there. I want to ask you guys a question. That's what I want. I want to ask everybody this question. Okay, and this is one I haven't asked. I haven't asked you this. I haven't asked you this at all, and I'm gonna try to count them up if I can. Okay, most of the people here do not believe that Brian is guilty. Most, but I'm sure there's some out there that believe that Brian's guilty, and you're going to count in this too. Who's guilty? Who is guilty? Think of all, and we're gonna name them after. We're gonna name them after. Think of all the suspects there is in this case. I counted them once, and I think I remember 13, and it's probably grown since then. So that's what I'm asking you. That's what I'm asking you. Now think of some of the players. We got Brian. We got. There's two Jacks. There's two Davids. There's Dylan. There's Reed, the cowboy guy. You know. There's Demetrius. There's Emma. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So I'm going to see what you guys think. If you dare say. Do you dare say from right here, right now, I'm going to start counting. Who do you think is guilty? Gower, one for Gower. Frats, Emma, DR. Okay. Who's in charge? Let's put it that way. Who's the one that actually did? Yeah, there could be. That'd be a tough one for me. Okay. Well, then I'm going to have to put. I can't the Frats. I can't say Frats. I got to say Emma or D. I'm going to put down Emma and Demetrius on that one. Okay. Okay. All right. I kind of wanted to get it so I could get one person's name down, but that's not gonna happen. Well, we can see who gets the most votes here. Okay, so there is one there with Brian. Sigma Chi. Okay, I'm going to put down Sigma Chi, and that's going to have to, that's getting you out of saying names. That's not fair. I'm trying to narrow it down to one person, but that might be a hard thing to do here. All right. So, but anyway, Sigma Chi. Okay, Dylan. The two Davids. All right. Two Davids, DM, Emma, D, Jack. Well, all right. Pete's name is in there. Say Mackay. All right. Well, I'm getting an idea. I was looking for one name, but JLR. Right. That's funny, Junket. Right, Randy, me. I did it. A lot of different Green's name is on there. Yeah. It's good to look and see how many names is really out there, and the point I guess I'm trying to prove is that they released, they, cleared all these people really, really fast. And I have a really hard time with that. I think I'm going to go in after this is all done, like tomorrow or something, maybe. And I'm going to add these all up, make sure that there's not two voters and all that good stuff. And I'll add them all up and then I'll post it in the community post. Where was Trump? Clue, Terry. Oh, man. I love you guys, man. That's awesome. Well, what I like to do on these nights when I'm just going over videos and stuff, I like to come up with one new one, And so that's what I'm going to do here. If I don't get tagged for this, I hope not. But I'm going to try it. And this is called the Toy Box Killer.
I was going to hear her.
Quite frankly, disgusting, the depth of perversion and the extent of criminality involved in this case.
She's been kidnapped and brought here for us to train and use as a sex slave.
It's just been a long time, that's all, and we miss her dearly.
There are more victims out there.
I didn't have to go through what I went through.
There's a lot of history at the bottom of that lake, and unfortunately, it may be recent history.
That toy box, it told a lot of stories.
You can't get away. You can't say no.
I thought for sure I was dead. I just didn't know when.
Albuquerque is a really picturesque mountain town. You could see the Sandia Mountains wherever you are in Albuquerque. Once you get outside the greater Albuquerque area, it tends to get very rural very quickly. You go 2 hours away and you're in Truth or Consequences. And Truth or Consequences is a town that is very quiet, very small, very remote.
This is my safe area down here, Come down here to rest and relax, fish.
Among the roughly 6,400 residents of Truth or Consequences are Kelly Garrett and her husband. They enjoy a quiet life until July 24th, 1996, when Kelly Garrett leaves the house after a lover's quarrel.
She'd gone to a bar in Truth or Consequences to meet up with some friends she had known for 3 or 4 years, and they played pool. She had been upset about the fight she'd gotten into with her husband, and she said she remembers having another sip of her beer, and she doesn't remember much after that. About 2 days later, all she remembers is waking up, feeling a little out of it, and she was extremely bloody, scared.
Confused and in shock, Kelly Garrett manages to find her way home, but she can't recall a single detail of the past few days.
She did speak to police, and again, without much recollection, and without being able to answer a lot of what they thought were basic questions about the last 48 to 72 hours, she didn't have a lot of people who believed in her.
Kelly's story might have disappeared into a pile of discarded case files, except hers is not the only mysterious disappearance reported to police at the time.
Marie Parker lived in the Truth or Consequences area. She was a mother of two, and she had a drug problem.
She and the girls lived here in apartment B5 at the Tradewind Carriage Apartments.
In April of 1997, 9 months after Kelly Garrett's disturbing night out, Marie Parker goes missing. The last place she's seen, a Truth or Consequences saloon.
She was dating a man by the name of Dennis Yancey.
Unlike Kelly Garrett, Marie Parker does not resurface. It's her friends who report her missing. But because of her history, the case doesn't go far.
She got back onto drugs when she started hanging out with that crowd. And she wanted to stay off of them, but she's just, I don't know, she just went off the deep end.
There really wasn't a huge connection. An investigator shared with me that it wasn't uncommon for someone to just disappear in the 1990s in that remote area, because they a lot of times would just hear it was a drug deal gone bad.
Investigators have no reason to suspect foul play in either of the missing women's disappearances, and they have little to go on. No detailed accounts, no suspects or motives, until 2 years later, when the New Mexico desert takes its next victim.
Cynthia Vigil, who also went by the name of Cynthia Jaramillo, was a 22-year-old prostitute working on Central Avenue in downtown Albuquerque. It is a main thoroughfare and still is today. That's where the restaurants were and the bars and the nightlife, where there was a large prostitution problem.
A woman approaches Cynthia on Central Avenue and invites her into an RV. Inside the vehicle, a man who claims to be a police officer handcuffs her, but something feels off.
She quickly realized he wasn't a police officer.
Instead of driving her to the Albuquerque Police Precinct, Cynthia's kidnappers race toward the small town of Elephant Butte.
Elephant Butte is very close to Truth or Consequences, where people kind of can go to start a new life, where people can kind of go to disappear.
Cynthia is drugged and slips in and out of consciousness. She's chained inside a box trailer, which her captor chillingly refers to as his toy box.
He would repeatedly rape her. He would repeatedly torture her. She had been beaten with the chains, with the sex toys, and not allowed to leave that toy box, which was soundproof. She remembers screaming, but again, no one was going to hear her.
Cynthia's nightmare drags on for days, and her captor makes it terrifyingly clear that there's no chance of it ending.
Now, you already know that you've been kidnapped and brought here for us to train and use as a sex slave. I realize that being abducted and being forced into sexual slavery is a hard pill to swallow. Let's face it, you can't get away, you can't say no. Now, you already know that you've been kidnapped and brought here for us to train and use as a sex slave. Let's face it, you can't get away, you can't say no.
In March of 1999, 22-year-old Cynthia Jaramillo disappears from Albuquerque, New Mexico. She's trafficked to the small nearby town of Elephant Butte, where she's repeatedly raped and tortured inside a soundproof trailer her captor refers to as his toy box.
With all that desperation and all that abuse and everything she had been through, she still amazingly had the wherewithal to realize an opportunity.
On her third day of captivity, Cynthia's captor heads to work. She's able to reach the keys to her handcuffs and free herself.
She escaped and ran down this desolate dirt desert road literally in the middle of nowhere. And she ran to the first home she could find. And a kind husband and wife, they were home at the time, and they brought her in and they gave her a robe and they called police immediately. And that was really what broke the case.
Cynthia recounts her horrifying experience to law enforcement, who begin their investigation into the nightmarish toy box.
Elephant Butte Lake, 1999. Dozens of police officers search a trailer just off the lake.
Police discover the trailer on property belonging to David Parker Ray.
David Parker Ray was born and raised in Berlin, and he ended up moving to Elephant Butte as an adult. He had a job with the New Mexico State Parks Department, and he was described by coworkers as a nice guy, quiet, subdued to himself, who had this job. He had served in the Army years before, and he worked for the state of New Mexico.
Police arrested Ray and his 39-year-old girlfriend, Cynthia Hindi.
I thought for sure I was dead. I just didn't know when.
The neighbors who did speak to the media, once they discovered who their neighbor was, they were in a state of shock.
Sandy Hopper lives 2 lots down from Ray's old property. She didn't know him personally, but knows other neighbors adored him.
Some of our neighbors, elderly neighbors, had a very, very difficult time. I'm not sure if they ever really believed that he was capable of doing that.
Police begin their search of the site to gather physical evidence for the case. What they unearth sickens even the most experienced investigators.
They found a trailer next to it, a torture chamber Ray called his toy box, filled with handcuffs, chains, sex toys, knives, and surgical items.
That toy box, it told a lot of stories.
In the backyard of this Elephant Butte home, a soundproof trailer that Ray used as his own torture chamber.
So David Parker Ray, for the most part, outfitted this himself for whatever, torture activities he wanted to perform.
Quite frankly, disgusting, the depth of perversion and the extent of criminality involved in this case.
Victims have been tortured. Victims have been sexually abused.
Many investigators to this day who have, as they say, seen it all, done it all, they still to this day have never seen anything as horrific in all of their investigations.
Well, I like a different lifestyle. I like D&D, bondage and discipline, and there's a couple of million people in the United States that like the same thing, according to statistics that I've read. And I was just more flamboyant with it than most people are. Most people keep it in the closet.
The evidence inside the toy box makes it clear that Cynthia Jaramillo is not David Parker Ray's only victim. Now, investigators want to know, could he also be connected to the mysterious disappearances of Kelly Garrett and Marie Parker years earlier?
He said he was a friend of hers and he was worried about her and he had felt sorry for her.
It turns out Ray showed up at Marie Parker's apartment back in 1997, a few months after she disappeared.
He had loaned her money and she owed him money, so he's just checking on her.
Investigators wonder if Ray might also be linked to Kelly Garrett, who went missing from a local bar the year before and resurfaced 2 days later.
They wanted to speak to Kelly about a very unique tattoo she had on her body that they had connected to some videotape that had been released of a man who'd been attacking women. They believe that Kelly Garrett was one of those women.
Investigators believe Kelly, like at least 2 other alleged victims, spent time in here in what David Parker Ray called his toy box.
With these new discoveries, police believe David Parker Ray may have victimized many more than originally feared. They just have to find them.
We're currently interviewing several people now to determine whether they're just witnesses or victims. That's yet to be determined.
In their search for additional victims, investigators reach out to members of Ray's family. which only leads to more questions.
Action 7 News has now learned that authorities were alerted as far back as a dozen years ago that David Parker Ray was up to no good. Indications that came from Ray's own daughter, Jessie.
Ironically, years earlier, when she was younger, she did go to police and try to tell them a little bit about what her dad was doing, and it never went anywhere. They didn't believe her.
And the FBI confirms that she did contact the Bureau and that agents launched a preliminary investigation. But they say the information Jessie provided was not detailed enough to justify a full field investigation.
Kind of seemed like something else had gone on. They couldn't connect dots.
The investigation is still very, very active. I would still characterize it as in its early stages. There very likely will be more arrests and or additional charges. There are more victims out there. We would like them to give us a call. There's no doubt that the things that we have looked into point toward witnesses, potential victims, and we need to talk to each and every one of them.
When this broke in the media, there were a lot of families who were able to come forward and say, hey, I think my daughter was one of the victims, or I think my relative, she's been missing for X and X amount of time. She may be one of his victims.
The case is already one of the most horrific in New Mexico's history. But when Cynthia Hendy begins cooperating with the FBI, it takes an even darker turn.
Ray's live-in girlfriend and accused accomplice in this week's rape case has now told investigators that Ray has killed people and buried them.
When you look at the evidence that's been collected to date, when you look at the crime scene, it is clearly evident that in this particular case, anything is possible. And we will not rule out the possibility that this case does involve homicide.
During their 1999 investigation into rape and assault allegations against New Mexico resident David Parker Ray, investigators make a terrible discovery. They may be dealing with a serial killer.
FBI agents use shovels, even cadaver dogs, to hunt for buried evidence in the rape and torture case at Elephant Butte.
While investigators search for bodies, they continue their appeal to the public to identify women who went missing in the area over the past few decades.
Jill Troya, who was last seen at the Frontier restaurant during the late evening of September 30th or early morning of October 1st in 1995.
Her mother reported her missing. Police searched and searched for her.
Just so hopeful and just praying again that, you know, this isn't really happening to us and that she's going to call. It's just been a long time, that's all, and we miss her dearly.
As they unearth details on the night Jill Troya disappeared, police make a shocking connection between Jill Troya and David Parker Ray.
She was dining at Frontier Restaurant, which has been there for decades in downtown Albuquerque.
Investigators say she and her girlfriend at the time got into a fight. Jessie Ray told police she left Jill at the restaurant and rode back home to Elephant Butte with her father.
And Jill Troya was never seen again. Jessie Ray was the daughter of David Parker Ray. She was known in the community as being outgoing and liked to party and had a lot of friends and knew a lot of people.
After weeks of searching David Parker Ray's property, police are unable to find any evidence to support a murder charge in the case of Jill Troya or any other victim. However, in July of 2000, David Parker Ray still sees his day in court for alleged crimes against Kelly Garrett and Cynthia Jaramillo.
The 59-year-old Ray has not been charged with any murders, but he has been charged with dozens of sex crimes and related counts. Federal and state investigators suspect that he's been abducting, raping, torturing, and maybe killing for years.
The first trial for David Parker Ray, Kelly Garrett testified, and it was very difficult for her to relive so much of what had happened. And she was convinced that he'd be found guilty. And that first trial ended in a hung jury. It was a shock to many. And 9 months later, there was a retrial. The difference this time, it was a different judge, a different jury. This time, the judge allowed the audio tapes from David Parker Ray's toy box to be played. That was the distinct difference between the first trial and the second trial.
You can't get away. You can't say no.
In April of 2001, David Parker Ray was convicted of sexually assaulting one woman. 2 months later, he accepted a plea deal for kidnapping and sexually assaulting 2 others. However, despite the countless hours of investigating, he was never charged with murder.
He was sentenced to 224 years in prison, and he only served 8 months of it. He died at the age of 62 of a heart attack.
Although he was a suspect in as many as a dozen homicides, it was one charge the state just couldn't prove.
David Parker Ray did, in truth, take many, many secrets to his grave. We don't give up on homicide investigations, and we're still hopeful of solving some of these that we suspected David Parker Ray to be involved in.
Of course, David Parker Ray wasn't alone in his reign of terror.
There are so many players in this story. Jessie Ray pleaded no contest to the kidnapping of Kelly Garrett, and she cut a deal with prosecutors, and in exchange, she served 2.5 years in prison.
Another accomplice? Dennis Yancey, the boyfriend of Marie Parker, who was reported missing in 1997.
Dennis Yancey is the only person who was ever convicted of murder. And he was convicted of murdering his girlfriend, Marie Parker.
His own wife says he did it, but only because David and Jessie Ray forced him.
David Ray took pictures of Roy killing her. Jessie held her down.
She knew them. She was associated with them. She'd go out there, and then all of a sudden she just disappeared.
Unveiled today a plea bargain agreement struck by 39-year-old Cindy Hendy, the co-defendant in this case, an agreement that was reached 10 days ago and held under seal.
Hendy reportedly told a friend that Ray disposed of bodies here in Elephant Butte Reservoir.
Authorities believe David Parker Ray killed as many as 40 people and buried them around Elephant Butte, but no bodies have ever been found.
This is a story that has gotten international attention, let alone local attention through the years, because it's so unbelievable.
He is a very sick man. He liked hurting people.
Cynthia Jaramillo escaped with nothing on but a dog collar around her neck. She believes other victims weren't so lucky.
They didn't have to go through what I went through, but they did. And they probably didn't make it like I did.
You know, everything Cynthia has been through, she at last check was still living in Albuquerque, and she established a website to help other women called streetsafenewmexico.org. It's a resource for women who have been victims of sex trafficking.
Today, rumors about bodies buried at the bottom of Elephant Butte Lake haunt residents. Their sleepy town, once beloved for its peace and tranquility, still seeks justice over what happened here.
We've always been concerned that there were bodies here, but he was in a position to take care of them.
There's a lot of history at the bottom of that lake, and unfortunately, it may be recent history.
There are so many undiscovered bodies related to all these murders that they believe are victims of David Parker Ray. You know, he bragged and talked about so many people who he tortured and murdered and buried in Elephant Butte and the surrounding area, and those bodies have never been found. So for so many of these families, it's a case that many wonder if there will ever be some closure.
All right, well, I always got to get a different case in there to at least take a look at anyway. Next week, I'm going to share that other one, Bubbly, that you sent me there. It looks like it might be a good one, too. And I've actually followed, I don't know if it's that exact case. I'll find out when I look at it. But I do want to run something back to the Kohlberger case. I like to end on Kohlberger. This was put out a year ago, and I don't know this channel, and I haven't watched any of this. but it's got something very interesting. I think we'll all be interested to see, and it's her reading alleged Reddit comments, and this is from a year ago. So there might be some pretty interesting stuff on this. Let's check this out. Right here. CDT is the page. And she got 45,000 views on it. So she's got some views on it. There's no doubt about it. So let's check this out.
If what this inside looking allegedly Bryan Kohberger is saying in these Reddit posts adds up to the real facts and details. So again, welcome everybody. Thank you guys for coming in and joining me. And interesting, Wingbuster says I was saying it was Bryan Kohberger since day one. Very interesting. See, I'm not a real big Reddit user. I follow it a little bit, but don't go on there and get real deep. But I saw this going around Facebook groups. And so last night I started really looking into it. But I know even when he was posting, a lot of people were kind of freaked out by him.
I'm not going to go through this whole thing. I'm going to do half of it maybe tonight, or not even that, maybe like 20 minutes of it or something. And then I'm going to probably run a panel or something on Sunday, like a chat panel thing. But anyway, yeah, so I'm only going to run, I'm not running, it's, how long is it here? It's like 2 hours and 47 minutes long. So yeah, I'm only going to run a little bit of it.
So thank you so much, Mercedes Riviera. I appreciate the super sticker. That's very kind. Thank you. And just hello to everybody coming in. I see you guys and I appreciate you so much. Hello to all my mods. Thank you for all you do for this channel. And yeah, I hope that you guys had a great new year and that you're having a good first day of 2023. Crazy, we're already into 2023, but here we are. So happy new year to everybody. And let's just get into this. Like I said, I'm not going to, pause and look at chat too much. I will a little bit, but I really just want this to be kind of a read through where people can come and just see close up the comments as I read through them. And then you guys obviously can discuss in chat and I will look at it a little bit, but I did want to get this out here because I find it very interesting. And it's going to be interesting to see if what this person is saying comes true, proves to be true or not. Hello, Jay Warren. Good to see you in here. Jamie, see Miley May, love your name. Hello, Melissa Jade. Happy New Year. Julie. And yeah, well, we're going to keep following this tomorrow. I want to do another stream just about, what people.
Just don't forget that this is a year ago. And then she said something about New Year. It must be like right before New Year's or right after New Year's of last year. And then when you look at these comments, they say a month ago. So actually you're talking, this is like in December, November to December. This is pretty much when it first happened. So there's going to be some interesting reading here. No doubt about it. Here we go.
People are saying about him. We now know he's allegedly being said to have stalked them for weeks. We know his father flew to Washington and drove back with Bryan. So to me, that's really interesting. Like, why did the dad fly there? I believe it was on December 17th and then drive all the way back to Washington with Bryan. It makes me wonder, and I could be totally off base, if possibly, the parents were already kind of working with police maybe, because again, we were kind of thinking like on his drive back from Washington to Pennsylvania, did he discard of any evidence or where did he stop? Whatever. Well, now we know his dad was in the car with him. So I just really hope his parents are working closely with Ellie. I haven't heard a whole lot, but I don't know. That's the distance. I mean, you can just kind of get an idea. And thank you, Amy, for becoming a member. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm glad to have you as a member. All right, so let's just get right into this. Like, it's hard for me. I could just sit here and look at your chats and chat with you all day. But for this one, I'm really going to try to just read. As hard for me is that it's hard for me to do that, but I'm going to do it. Okay, so again, thank you guys for being here. I'm going to make this full screen and we're just going to read through this and try to kind of dissect it together. Yeah, I think his dad flew there to get him because it's a long drive to do alone. A lot of college kids do that. I know my family does that. Very possible. I just feel like he was 28 years old. Like he was working on his PhD. He's 28. I don't know. I just think it's interesting. But it could be just that, you know, he didn't want him to have to drive all that way alone. I do think it's very important to keep in mind when discussing the family and everything. Again, we don't know really a whole lot about them. We do know the aunt claims, or two aunts actually claimed, they were a little bit on the wild side, kind of didn't live by many rules, and that the father of Bryan Kohberger was estranged from his siblings. So once again, just interesting to note all of that. Okay, so here we go. Again, thanks for being here. If you would hit the thumbs up, I would really appreciate that. So like I said, I'm starting at the bottom. This is the first one I could find. So again, the name we're looking at is Inside Looking. So someone says, is it perplexing to anyone else that we haven't seen much in regard to friends, students, sorority, fraternity people making statements through news or social media? It just seems strange that they are able to keep things quiet now. And he writes, the killer is out there right now. Anyone making statements is going to want to remain anonymous. Then someone says, I wonder if the knife could still be inside the home. He writes, the killer took it with them. End of story. And again, that's just so matter of fact, just interesting in hindsight to imagine that Bryan Kohberger likely was sitting behind either, you know, a phone screen, a tablet, an iPad, a laptop, whatever device, writing these comments with the same hands that he used to allegedly kill these 4 victims. So he's saying, yeah, the killer took the knife with him. And that's another thing. Where's the murder weapon? We know that they stated they did locate and tow a white Hyundai Elantra, but they still don't know where the murder weapon is. And I wonder if they're going to find it in his apartment, if he kept it kind of like a prize, if you will, as sick as that is, or did he dispose it somewhere? All right, in my opinion, his online behavior is foul, but apparently he is autistic and can't drive. I struggle to see him pulling this off. Also, he claims to have an alibi. I do hope police question him, though. And they were talking about a person who followed the victims and knife accounts. I don't really know who that person is, but Inside Looking just says a lot of autistic people can and do drive. And again, I'm not looking at chat, so please don't think I'm ignoring you. I can't, if I look at chat, I will get way too distracted. Okay, so they're talking about rewards in this. Remember, they never offered any type of monetary reward in this case. And someone writes, rewards are offered when they have no leads and the investigation has gone stale or when it's time sensitive. It's likely the police know by now what happened here and are just building their case. Inside Looking writes, exactly. Got to be able to convince a jury that this is the perpetrator without doubt. And now this is interesting as well. He commented, FBI agents and investigators returned to the house Friday and seen checking eye line from the 3rd floor window towards apartment across the way. And then he's sharing photos, a second person looking in that direction. So if this is him, allegedly, like many people think, is him. He was following this very closely. Here he's attaching a screenshot from the New York Post. And he says, anyone able to identify what they are pointing at in these photos? And he adds the photos. I don't know if anybody responded. And then here he is sharing a Fox News link and, stating it lasts like 10 seconds. And he's talking about, once again, FBI agents and investigators returned to the house Friday and seen checking eye line from the 3rd floor window towards apartments across the way. And then someone responds, or he's looking at the lock. And he says, if you watch the video, it looks like he's looking out the window and not the lock. It lasts like 10 seconds. So let's look at this. This is, again, allegedly, if this is Brian, the link that he posted. And we all, I know in my chats, kind of speculated that he was probably watching and following everything extremely closely. And now I just really feel like this is pretty good confirmation that he was. So this is what he posted. We won't watch it all, but just interesting. And later in this, he talks, I really do think he probably, if this is really him and he's being honest, it's going to be interesting to see, but he acts like the killer, aka allegedly Brian, him, parked right up here, not on Walenta. Okay, let me look at chat real quick while this kind of plays. And thank you so much, Liam's mama. I appreciate that. Thank you. And Happy New Year to you and your family as well. Thank you. I see ATS News came in. Muffy, hello. Yeah, no, he never said anything about autism. He was responding to somebody. But I don't want to put that any kind of I don't want to really speculate on that at this point. I know a lot of people get a little upset when people start doing that. But yeah, he was just responding. All right, let's switch back over. So that's again just what he shared. Yeah, it does. And I had also heard, let me know if you guys have heard the same, that he does have attorneys hired for when he gets back to Idaho. I believe he gets back Tuesday, and he's waiving the extradition hearing, so he's not going to fight it or anything. He's going to come back. Right, and I agree, Teresa. He's getting a kick out of being a commenter. He doesn't have to tell the truth, and I am with you. I'm very curious. Once we start learning the truth and the true details about the crime scene, etc., if it's going to add up or if it's going to be totally different than what this commenter is telling us. It's going to be very interesting. So you heard that too, single mom. All right. But you're right. I mean, this could all be lies. What he says about the targets and everything is really fascinating to me as well. Okay, so this is talking about the glove, and I'm thinking it's about the one that Chris McDonough found from the interview room. Nobody noticed the glove over the past 2 weeks of having a shit ton of police and forensics people coming in and out. Someone either recently lost a glove and they're just covering their bases, as in a member of media, public, LE, or I have been needlessly defending them from accusations of ineptitude. And he says, this group should have found it earlier, ... And he says, Inside Looking commented on looking at the request for videos. So that's what he was commenting back on. Okay, this is interesting as well. This is somebody who said a month ago, it's pretty amazing at this point. No known link to killer's DNA. Unknown path of exit at scene, no footprints, tire tracks, blood marks, no eyewitness or security footage capturing killer's entrance and exit from vicinity of the crime, Roommates have no idea the killings happened until 6+ hours later and presumably had no idea until Ellie made the discovery. No weapon found, no suspects. My gut is this case goes cold, unfortunately. I hate the fact that whoever committed this evil act is likely living their normal life, whatever that is, possibly sat at Thanksgiving dinner with their unsuspecting family. And he says, agreed. Ellie said yesterday, no suspect at this time. I bet Ellie is banking on the DNA, which isn't as easy as people think. Case goes cold otherwise. Well, we know that family genealogy helped find his DNA, and we do know that he returned to class Monday, the day after he committed the murders, and people in class said that he was in a good mood. He was getting better grades on papers because we know he was a teaching assistant. So just really weird. Okay, so I'm not going to read all of this. Basically, they are stating, this person stating that they feel all 4 of the victims, Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, and Xana, were the killer's targets. And he says, sometimes killers are just satisfied by the number of people they killed. And he says that again later. Maybe he was just happy with 4. And maybe, again, that's going to come out. Maybe there was a target, which he does kind of say later on that Maddie and Xana were targets, but we'll get there. Or, maybe he just, like he's stating here, as sick as it is, was happy with the 4. But yeah, sometimes killers are just happy with the number they killed. Ugh. Hold on. Okay. Let me go back. All right, no, we're good. Okay, so continuing on. The original comment was deleted, but he just responds, no suspect at this time. Again, the dog theory. Let's see what this is. But he responds again, no suspect at this time. Seemed like he was pretty glad that there wasn't, any suspects, because he, now we know, is the sole suspect. Okay. Hang on. All right, so continuing on, he shares, so once again, look, he was even, following, which isn't a surprise, the Moscow PD's website that they shared quite a bit on there. I felt they had like a whole frequently asked questions, like facts, area, etc. So obviously this comment was deleted, but he keeps a few times stating, I don't know why this keeps jumping on me, but official sources only. And he posted the who is not believed to be involved. So he posted that. Again, one comment was deleted, but he's saying official sources only, period. Now, this is interesting as well. Someone's stating, do you think this might be a murder for hire type situation? Given the speculation, it seems targeted, but I do not believe Ellie is gaining any traction on a real suspect. And then they just say, it also sounds like the doors were locked when the murders occurred, preventing the roommates from entering, which seems like a semi-professional move. Also, from what I have seen and read, no blood appears to lead anywhere outside of the home. Thoughts? And he said it was never verified by official sources that the doors were locked. That's hearsay. And then once again, Nancy Grace says perpetrator DNA is not coming up in CODIS or APHIS. And he writes back, use official sources only. Now someone writes, interested in the reasoning behind those who chose to drive or who drove. So I think there was like a poll on foot or in a car. And he writes, he drove right up to the house and adds this photo. Because remember, this came out and stated, investigators seem to be looking at tire marks. And he says he drove right up to the house and adds that. And again, thank you guys for being here and listening to me read through this. I'm not looking at chat, but I appreciate you all so much. Okay, so again, unsubstantiated post from just now. He writes again, use official sources only. And I just think this is interesting as well. I almost, again, who knows what this sicko is thinking in his mind, but it's like I also wouldn't have been surprised if he was on here poking like blame and casting speculation onto, excuse me, like say Jack D or Hoodie Guy, anybody but him. Like it doesn't seem like he's getting into a whole lot of the hearsay or rumor stuff like that. There's quite a few times he says, use official sources only. Okay, I think Ellie has tired of people asking them who was the targeted person. So now they simply say it could have been all four. In truth, though, their initial take, i.e. one person, will have been based on their reading of the crime scene. And then he says, an interviewer asked Snell if the dog was a part of the investigation, and Snell looked flabbergasted that was even a question. And I think that was the Fox News reporter. I can't remember his name, but he was the same one that interviewed Kaylee's parents outside. I think he was the one that asked about the dog being part of the crime scene. And Aaron Snell did look a little surprised by that question. Okay, so again, he's linking a YouTube video. How long does it take to solve a homicide in the real world? And then we don't currently have a suspect, Director Snell said during an interview, and then he links this YouTube video, which I'm going to look at real fast.
So there have been so many done in this case.
All right, let's go to the 7 minute and 40 second mark. What allegedly Bryan Kohberger was directing them to. And I think this is the interview where he asked about dog as well. Okay.
We don't currently have a suspect. And so as we build that picture, that information from BAU is going to be critical into trying to develop that. And so
Yeah, he was just linking where they stated, an official source stated, we don't currently have a suspect. But I don't know, I just find it interesting to kind of walk back through this and see what he was allegedly sharing. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, based on everything you currently know about this case, what do you believe the killer's relationship was to the victims? And he says, done by someone they know. And again, we now know that he allegedly had been stalking them, according to sources. Still want a little more information on that. But we also know Kaylee's father, Steve Gonsalves, said that now that they have Bryan Kohberger's name and face, they are starting to see connections, but they are not yet ready to speak on those connections. So again, done by somebody they know doesn't mean they were friends with Bryan Kohberger, but they definitely could have known him in passing or whatever. And now I know with Ethan and Xana and Maddie, he's possibly saying they were the targets. We know the Mad Greek restaurant is a point where Maddie and Xana worked. And once again, if Xana and Maddie were the targets and he had been watching the house, whatever, that would make sense why he went on floor 2 and floor 3, where before, I know even for myself, I was kind of like, okay, it either has to be like Kaylee and Maddie are the targets or Ethan and Xana. Like I never really had my mind go to the thought, what if Maddie and Xana were the targets and therefore that is why the killer went to floors 2 and 3. And it could be why there are rumors that Ethan and Xana were killed
Okay, I stopped right at 25 minutes. So when we pick this up on Sunday, I'll be at 25 minutes. And this is probably what we'll run on Sunday, along with a panel and stuff, because there's some interesting stuff, even though she's, like on the Kohlberger train. You got to remember, it was just after New Year's, I think, last year. So they only had him for a few days. So anyway, that's what we'll start with, I think. And I got something that Bubbly sent me that I'll probably run, because I don't think we'll get through that 2 hours and 20 minutes on Sunday either. So probably watch some of it though. And I might go over it and find like just the good points in this, because I just found this tonight and I thought it might be interesting to look at, yeah. And what is this? Okay, right. So yeah, anyway, that will close off this night, I guess. A Sunday again, I'll be having a panel night, like live chat and panel night. And okay, let me see here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to get Bubbly up here on Sunday. Get her to come on over. Watch some of her vids and stuff too. And yeah, it's really good to see all you guys. And I hope chat was good tonight. I couldn't pay much attention to it, so I'm hoping everything was good there. It usually is. My mods rock. My family's rock. And yeah. I was going to do something here first, I think. Wasn't I? I don't think I did this. No, I didn't. Let's see if this works or not. Let's see if this will load or not. For all you, if you're like me, I'm an old hippie. You know what I mean? I'm a fucking old hippie. That's what I am. And as soon as this gets done processing, let's see what's going on in chat. Okay, Open Mind. I'll take a look. I'm right now I'm behind on my emails again. Oh, that's a good one, Terry. Geez, you always come up with good ones. Yeah, that would be a good thing to know, wouldn't it? I wonder if LE knows. Probably not. They're, probably not. All right. So anyway, I love you, my crime family, and my beautiful mods. You are my soul. My crime family in my heart. And until next time, it's rock and roll.
Shall we bring some Janice in this place? All right.
25 years and my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of home for a destination. I realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was made up of this brotherhood of men, for whatever that means. And so I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head. And I'm feeling a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. And I said, hey, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? And I try, oh my God, how I try all the time. And this institution, and I pray, oh my God, do I pray every single day for a revolution. And so I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head. And I'm feeling a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. What's going on? "25 years and my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of home for a destination." la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Sitting around